When you ready?
Am I ready? Oh my God, that 30 seconds went very, very fast. Welcome to the last movie Outpost. This is Outpost Frequencies. I am Drunken Yoda, and with me, as always, is Boba Phil. Phil, how you doing today?
I'm extremely tired. I've had insomnia. I woke up at 4 this morning and watched a screener that we were sent to review, and then went back to bed straight afterwards. But no, apart from that, very good.
So you're saying this movie was a perfect cure for a little insomnia?
No, it was a horror film, and if I'm going to watch a horror film, there's no point watching it during the day. I like to wait till nighttime. And so I long for the winter. So when it's darker, you can soak up that atmosphere. And so because it was dark this morning, I was like, I might as well put it on. So yeah, but it was actually quite decent. But I can't say anything because there's an embargo on for another few weeks.
Well, that's what I chose to hear. So fine. So I am going to switch us over to here. And
hey, Maddie, nice to see you.
Hey, Maddie, welcome. So, Inspector Clouseau, I believe it was announced, or at least it's the rumor, that Eddie Murphy is going to be playing the new Inspector Clouseau. He looks French, I think. He has that French accent, and I think he can pull it off. What's your thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, the Pink Panther, Shot in the Dark, and those kind of movies are very British movies. Obviously, Peter Sellers is a fantastic. I mean, a genuine comic genius. You can't improve on perfection with him. But like Steve Martin proved back in whenever it was when he tried to redo Inspector Clouseau, it doesn't work. And I don't think Eddie Murphy's a perfectly funny guy, and I like him, and he's great, and everything else. But I just don't see it being particularly good.
Yeah, I don't. The Pink Panthers, even the ones that Sellers did, I think like the first one, I guess, is a classic, and then after that, it was like drop offs in quality. And then I remember after he died,
yeah.
there was a lot of return. Like they tried to keep going, but without him, and made it on maybe the police chief. I don't remember, or maybe I think they did one with his son or something like that. This is before the Steve Martin. This is like trying to milk.
Yeah, it kind of rings a bell with me. Yeah. I mean, with it, like I say, Peter Sellers is one of those people that was just a comic genius. He was perfect. And those first couple of films, A Shot in the Dark was the first one, as I remember. Oh no, actually saying that, it's not. He's saying 63 and 64. So Pink Panther was first, and then A Shot in the Dark, right? Yeah. But I mean, those first couple of movies were brilliant, and then they just really dropped. And by the end of it, it was just a paycheck. I think there's one of them, I think it's like the third or the fourth one. There's a scene in an elevator where somebody farts and they caught, and it is quite funny, but that's like the funniest bit in the movie. The rest of the movie is just terrible. So but again, I don't understand why they've got to keep digging up these old IPs, which we will get onto later, but digging up these old IPs and just trying to reboot them for the modern audience. I don't understand why they can't do like a 4K conversion and just re-release them into the cinema and let a new audience discover Peter Sellers.
Yeah, I the thing is, I mean, I feel like we're really scraping. Like, you do a Pink Panther movie or an Inspector Clouseau movie for Gen Z, and they're all going to go, "Who? What?"
Yeah.
I mean, this is not even on there. Like, a lot of the Gen X stuff is on their radar because we force our kids to watch it. And
yeah, absolutely.
And they are classics.
I haven't got kids, but I still force kids to watch it. They're not mine, but
yeah. Hey, you leave them in a shopping cart. That's just too bad for you. I just don't think before the 70s, like before Star Wars, it's very difficult. Like, even I will have not heard of or seen a lot of this stuff from the 50s and 60s, and I'm fairly up on a lot of it. But I don't know, pop culture just wasn't a thing with the boomers, with the silent generation, like, they had their fun and then they moved on and, got married and had lives. And Gen Xers were the first generation, just wouldn't get rid of their toys.
I suppose it's kind of like me and you when somebody, I mean, we have celebrity programs in the UK, sort of protect, and whatnot, and then they have, and famous TikToker so and so, and I'm going, huh? I clue who that is. They've got 20,000 million followers on YouTube, and I'm going, have they? And so to us, you say Peter Sellers, and you think of this comic genius, but the modern generation have got their own Peter Sellers. I can't imagine anybody is on YouTube or TikTok is as funny as Peter Sellers, but they've got their own well, it's kind of like I said this on Twitter the other day. I wish AI would come up with a cringe filter so that when you've got these awful videos of couples who are kind of like throwing ping pong balls at each other and whoever loses has a drink and all this kind of stuff, and it's like, this is so awful. But then you look and they've had like 20 million views and you're thinking, well, this is what crowds entertainment today, as opposed to the comic genius and script writing of the Pink Panther and Inspector Clouseau. You've now just got people who are, playing pranks on each other in the park and stuff, and that's what counts as entertainment and quality these days.
From what I've seen of AI, you put a cringe filter on it, it'll just go silent. So I'm not sure.
You put a cringe filter on it, it will suddenly turn into Ultron.
Yeah. So
what they kind of asked for Ultron, so
on the subject of Peter Sellers, do you have a favorite of his? Like, if you had to pick a movie? I got one. I'm just curious what you would pick.
Weirdly, I would probably go with, and you've probably never heard of it, but I'd probably go with The Goon Show. So there was a radio series that he did with a guy called Spike Milligan and Harry Seacombe, and they used to play these characters, and my dad used to play them when I was younger, and they were just all done in these little voices and stuff, and they were just, they were completely and utterly balmy. The whole thing was always absolutely loopy, but they were just so funny, and they would try and make each other laugh and all this kind of stuff. So for me, it was definitely The Goon Show. But what's your favorite movie?
So, just a little background. We used to take road trips to Florida when I was a kid, right? And we didn't have HBO or Cinemax or any of that. My parents didn't want to pay for it, didn't want it in the house. Looking back at all the stuff that was on HBO was probably a good call. But because it was all uncensored, and back then it was all, boobies everywhere. But I remember we'd get to a hotel and they would have free HBO, and my sister and I had our own room. So hey, HBO, I get to watch movies. And I remember turning on Being There. And I was pretty young at the time when it came out, like 12, 13, or at least when it was on HBO. And I watched that movie and I was just enthralled by it. And then at the end, when he ended up walking on water, I remember it just broke my little brain. And I don't know. I think it's a classic. I love that movie. I'm
not familiar with that. I'm gonna have to look that up.
You gotta check it out.
Don't get me wrong. When you see Peter Sellers' backlog of stuff, he made hundreds and hundreds of movies and whatnot. And I think of things like great, I can't even think of the title of it now. I'm gonna have to put some back on my watch list because I haven't seen it for so long. I'm All Right, Jack, I think was one. There was one where he was in jail as well. And oh dear, yeah. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to look them up because I'm gonna go on there now and see, because God, that's really bad. I've forgotten them because again, like I say, the guy was gone.
Being There is like his final movie, I think, and it's about it was about a guy named Chauncey Gardner. He was a gardener. And he worked for this old man who'd passed away. And he was kind of a simpleton, but he dressed well because his boss or the old man he worked for will give him nice clothes. And so he came across as kind of a dapper English gentleman, but he was a complete simpleton. But he would say things as it related to him. What's that?
Not much difference between a polite Englishman and a simpleton.
But he would always relate things because the only thing he knew was gardening. And everybody just started like listening to him, and he ended up on TV, and he would say these inane nonsense to answer questions about like foreign policy and stuff like that. And everybody just was like in awe of him. Like they thought he was the wisest man ever. And you as the viewer know he's a complete simpleton. And then at the end, he walks on water. He literally walks on water. Like, wait, what? You know, so it's really fantastic. I can't.
I do love the fact that sometimes it's like, how do we end this? Have him walk on water? Yep, go with it.
Well, it is meaningful within the movie because it's like, it's like the whole thing was like, well, maybe he really was wise, you know, like it was you as the viewer thought one thing, you're laughing at all the people think another thing, and then the joke's on you. He's really this angelic being or something. So I mean, I don't know. I love the movie. I watch it every once in a while. In fact, I haven't seen it in a while. I might pop that in. But yeah,
it's gonna have to go back on my list. Yeah,
highly recommend.
See, going through some of his stuff very quickly, The Lady Killers is brilliant. Whereas there's a bank robbery and they end up in this sort of ladies, almost like an Airbnb. This is like 1950. But then she finds out they're bank robbers, so they try and kill her off, and inadvertently she ends up killing them off one by one. The original, because I never did a remake with Tom Hanks, but the original is sort of brilliant in that sort of slapstick style. And then the other ones I was thinking of was The Mouse That Roared, I'm All Right, Jack was the one where he was in jail, and Two-Way Stretch, sorry. And actually saying that, he's only got 89 credits to his name. But then weirdly, what does come up, and I completely forget that he's in this, is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying Love the Bomb. Because it was always so strange that Kubrick would pick people like Sellers, and there was another British actor called I can't think of his name now, but another comic actor that Britain knew he was in sitcoms as a comic actor, but he was in 2001, and it was ever so strange that he would kind of pop up. And like I say, in Doctor Strangelove, he plays three completely different characters. With Doctor Strangelove with his arm.
Yeah, the former Nazi scientist. It's like he's got a tick. It's like, well, oh shit, sorry.
Obviously, somebody like Kubrick saw that he was a great comic actor, but at the same time, he was also just a great actor and somebody who, you know, he was very, very good. Because you can't imagine, sort of, obviously, you know, Kubrick sort of just picking people willy nilly to be in that stuff.
No, yeah, and Kubrick was hard to work with, as I understand. So anyway,
I can imagine, yeah. But yeah, interesting. But yeah, like I say, and I also have to say with Eddie Murphy, but he's sorry, just missing Sean and Matt there. Murder by Death. I just checked, and being there was actually not quite short IMDb watch list. Oh, I know. Yeah, like I say, it's going to have to go on my watch list now. I'm sure I must have seen it. My dad was a huge Peter Sellers fan. Obviously, it's just one of those ones that we're going to have to look over again. But yeah, what happens with Eddie Murphy doing it remains to be seen.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, moving on. So you watched the new War of the Worlds, which is you watching Ice Cube watch the War of the Worlds on TVs and computer screens and TikTok.
I mean, I watch some crap. I watch a lot of crap.
I know, I've seen it.
80s slasher
canon
movies.
E.T. I was like, wait, what?
E.T. garbage. You know, no, but I mean, I watch a lot of sort of junk TV that I find them quite entertaining. And most of the time, like I say, with like a canon movie, you can go into it thinking, I'm going to be entertained by this. It's going to be garbage, but I'm going to be entertained. And then there's War of the Worlds. Now, as I went through in my review, which you can find on the Laugh Movie Outpost, just to have a quick look on it, the original movie is fantastic, absolutely beautiful. Sorry, Mannix has just said there it's only got 3.3 on the IMDb movie. Oh no, sorry, he's talking about War of the Worlds because it's got a really low score, 6,000 views and votes on it. But the original War of the Worlds is brilliant. They've made a couple of TV series. There was a remake or a sequel done by C. Thomas Howell, which was horrendous. But somehow this War of the Worlds is worse. I genuinely cannot understand. I think I said this in the review somewhere. Where is it that somebody was like, "This is the War of the Worlds we want to do. We're going to have Ice Cube sat watching a screen, and everything's going to be unfolding on there. Whilst this world-shattering event is going on, he's going to be monitoring his son and his daughter, because obviously that's what trained government agents do with all this technology, check on their kids whilst millions of people are dying." And somebody said,
actually, the bureaucracy these days, I can see that happening. They're just out for themselves. But go ahead.
And then the whole premise of it was that it was a government cover-up so that they could steal people's data from Facebook. And you're thinking, right, so people believe that Mark Zuckerberg, I'm going to be careful how I word this, isn't selling data on Facebook, and they have to plan an alien attack to steal this data. And it was just, I mean, I wasn't massively impressed with Steven Spielberg's version, mainly because they said that the aliens had already sort of buried people under the earth. In the original story, they'd run out of resources on Mars and everything was going wrong, blah, blah, blah. So they needed a new planet to take over. But in Steven Spielberg's one, it was kind of like, oh, we've actually sent out probes and buried them on Earth just in case our planet gets ruined. And I say they didn't really connect with me. This one is, they come down to Earth to steal everybody's data. And it's like, sorry, I'm going to choke on my own rage here.
I think it's funny you say, like, in the movie, government, we need to create this big conspiracy, this fake alien invasion so we can steal the information off Facebook. Real life, government, give us your data, Zuckerberg. Okay.
Yeah. Hi, Mark. All right, yeah. Could you send over those files of everybody's voting habits? Lovely. Yes, I'll see you on the golf course Wednesday. Okay, mate.
Yeah.
And it was never quite clear.
Even retarded is Hollywood. It's just unbelievable.
It was never clear whether the aliens were created by the government as like this front for what was going on to steal data, or whether there was an alien attack and then the government went, oh, while that alien attack's on, let's do the data thing quick. We can blame it on the aliens. Like, it was all prepared and ready, like, oh, so that alien invasion you were waiting for, I think it's going on, sir. Brilliant.
Now we get those naked pictures of Sydney Sweeney.
That was another thing that annoyed me, was Ice Cube has got technology to hack into any camera on the planet, and he doesn't at once sort of follow around celebrities and sort of sell their images and stuff. It's just, how he can watch his daughter buying donuts, which is something that happens, and he can also, to get help from a stranger, send them £1,000 in Amazon gift vouchers. Genuinely something that happens in the film. Right, a drone lands on his back and it turtles, and so it can't turn over. So they say to this guy, "We'll give you £1,000 Amazon gift vouchers if you turn the drone back over." I mean, it's just I can't think this has got to be
the Indian gift card thing.
I genuinely could not.
I know you hated it. I'm sorry, I know you hated it, but I was like, oh, how bad could it be? I mean, it's probably just, and now what you're relaying to me, I'm going, holy shit, that's worse than I could have even imagined.
It genuinely is. Like I say, if you'd stuck to the War of the Worlds, like Spielberg did, like I say, I'm not a huge fan of the story, but it's still made with a bit of love and dedication to the whole thing. This version was just, it was beyond anything I've seen in the last 10 years of bad. It was unbelievably terrible. I mean, I've got a photo there of Mark O'Neill, I think his name is, Michael O'Neill. And I mean, apparently this was all shot in COVID. And then he's literally phoning it in, from the golf course. And so he's just on the golf course and it's like, okay, I'm just teeing up. You got your scene, Michael? Oh yeah, government's bad and everything else. Okay, here we go. And it was just, it was absolutely. It was the worst thing I've seen. It makes Last Jedi look like a. I'm still putting that out because I thought it was funny. It makes Last Jedi look like Ben-Hur. You know, it's just I can't get over how, if it was about aliens stealing data and everything else, that could have worked and you could have made a good story. But to then incorporate War of the Worlds, it's a complete and utter disrespect for H.G. Wells in every avenue.
Well, so strong recommendation. Sounds like.
It's not even worth watching to see how bad it is. Usually you can, like I say, if I watch like something from Canon and something, I know it's going to be awful, but it's going to be entertaining. I'm going to be entertained. I'm going to have fun with it. This was just, there was nothing redeeming about this movie at all. It was literally, I think I said at one point, where is it? The disrespect for it, and it was like digging up H.G. Wells' bones and then making him play hitting himself for an hour and a half, you know, just to, and then it was funny because there was such a sense of irony because it was done by the same people who've done exactly the same to the Rings of Power with Lord of the Rings. Absolutely zero respect for the IP, you know, and they've just taken this property, just taken a dump on it, and then set fire to the dump somehow.
I'll be this charitable, and then we can move on. It was COVID. They were trying something with what they had since you couldn't go out. I guess I'll give them that much. But what they came up with was clearly a sign of how everybody's brains broke during COVID.
Yeah. And I mean, maybe, like I say, if you had released it in 2020 or whatever, you might have got away with it. But to release it 5 years later, and obviously people sat down and watched it and then said, yep, this is the film we're releasing. Here we go. Happy day. Send this out. This is going to be well received everywhere. And it's like, not in anybody's tiny little brain. I think somebody, just to mention this as well, because I don't know if this is a joke or not, in the comments, somebody posted, where was it? Somebody posted a picture and it said I think it was me saying, yeah, I'm typing on was that supposed to be an insult that I was having a go at this movie? I don't know.
I don't know. Some of our comments are a little random.
Out there. And so, but I was thinking, hang on, this person is saying that I'm, typing on the internet and having a go at this movie. Please, what's he called? Flash
well, it could be.
Tell me one good thing about this film that made it good and worth defending.
Well, it could be that he's talking about the movie itself. Like, I'm typing on the internet, that's the movie.
Oh, yeah, no, that's true. I
or
suppose.
Is he replying to a guy above him? I don't know.
No.
Sometimes the talk
one of those
thing
things.
I give up.
You can't understand. You can't type to sarcastic. I've got into trouble many a time at work over that kind of thing. I'm sarcastically typing something and then press send, and then a whole load of barrage of emails come back. Sort of, no, Phil, you shouldn't have said that. But yes, ultimately, War of the Worlds. I mean, genuinely, the worst film I've seen in the last 10 years.
That's impressive. I mean, we had Madam Web come out. You're saying worse than that. Oh, that's impressive.
Infinitely worse than that. I would rather sit down and watch Madam Web again 100 times than watch War of the Worlds once.
Wow. Okay.
At least so
there's your ringing endorsement. There's your ringing endorsement, Hollywood. There you go. All right, Gremlins. I understand that Gremlins 3 is now moving forward. And I think everybody everywhere collectively said, why? But what's your take on this? Why'd you say, I mean, what are the details on this?
Gremlins is one of those movies that I hold very dear to my heart because I remember having the VHS of it and I watched it to death as a kid. What was it, 85 it came out, 86? And I watched it to death. Oh, 84. I watched it to death as a kid. I genuinely loved it. Yeah, it says 84 there. I can see it now. And so to me, it holds that special place in my heart of just one of those childhood memories of a movie that is just, it's kind of perfect in a way. It's perfect entertainment. It's not a perfect movie. It's a perfect entertainment. You know, you've got this great character. You've got these three rules. They get broken. There's really scary moments, the practical effect of everything. You can't go wrong with Gremlins. It's a genuine feel-good movie. Gremlins 2 came out. We thought, no, that's like a massive troll, because Gremlins was so popular that it was kind of, we're making a second one. And so Joe Dante said, no, fine, I'll do it. And then proceeded to just troll them. And just take their money.
In and of itself is great.
Yeah. You know, and so if you watch it with your tongue firmly in cheek and you're with Joe Dante laughing at Warner Brothers, it's brilliant. It's fantastic.
They gave me $30 million to do this. Can you believe it?
Yeah, you know, and he said, I think somebody posted in, I think it was Stark posted, Big E there posted the whole Key and Peele thing, Key and Peele, where they were doing sort of like, okay, you want the electric gremlin, you've got it. You want one that's vegetables, you've got it. And it's like, and it's just, and then he at the end goes, none of that is going in the movie. And then it goes, all of this appeared in the movie. And again, it was a brilliant troll from Joe Dante. But why on earth they decided to go with a third? I know this kind of 80s revival thing is going on, but why on earth they're going with this? I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how many times can we say it at this point, right? It's kind of like, it's like,
it doesn't work.
You get this. Yeah, they say, do you get nostalgic for the 80s? It's like, how can I? It won't fucking leave. The 80s just won't freaking leave for a good period of time. So I can't get nostalgic. It just continued on till this day. Never stopped.
I think there's a country song and it's called How Can I Miss You If You Won't Go? And that sums up perfectly what the 80s is.
Exactly. And it's kind of like, I don't know. I will say though, when you're talking about Gremlins 2, I think like the original Gremlins, you have that scene where, what's her name? What's the
Phoebe Cates?
Phoebe Cates or Kate? Her.
Yeah.
She has this very serious moment in there that is kind of goofy, but it's kind of like it's played serious, and you're supposed to feel for her. And we can argue about whether it works or not, but where her dad died because he was trying to play Santa and he got stuck in the chimney and died. And it's kind of horrifying, but you know, it kind of fits with the rest of the movie. I didn't, you know, a lot of people give it a lot of crap, but I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
The part that made me laugh probably the hardest in Gremlins 2 is when it all starts up again. She goes, oh, this is Arbor Day. I remember back at Arbor Day, and Zach Gallagher's like, yeah, go on, get out of here. We're not doing this again with another holiday.
Right. I can't buy you anything. I can't buy you anything at Easter because something happened there. I can't buy you anything on Valentine's Day because something else. Don't even get me started on Halloween. But yeah, every major holiday, she's had a family incident.
You just get the feeling there's just this long holiday bloodbath in her family.
That's right.
I love.
She's got more death. I was going to say more deaths than horror movies have done with that kind of thing. Not Friday the 13th. Oh God.
There we go. Oh no. By the way,
I just want to.
I heard July 31st was National Orgasm Day. The best joke I heard was sounds like a fake holiday.
It's very good. Mannings has made the point there that mums were badass back in 1984. That's so true because the mum in there, she is, emotionally grounded, but then she manages to stand up against Spike and all of these guys and kick ass. The one of the white grave always gets me still. I fondly remember that as a 9-year-old kid.
Yeah, everybody wants to talk about Sarah Connor and Ellen Ripley. Yeah, both of them tough, but let's give Gremlin's mom her due, man. She put them in a blender,
absolutely.
Blew one up in a microwave.
Yeah, she was great. But yeah, like I say, why they're doing the third one is beyond me. Again, it's just it shows the unbelievable cultural desert that we're in because they just can't come up with anything new. They won't take a risk on anything new. It's just got to keep regurgitating the 80s until everything's destroyed.
Well, speaking of destroyed, Starfleet Academy, and let's take what you just said one step further. It's not just that they're regurgitating things from the 80s, they're taking the things that we love and completely and utterly destroying them or raping them or turning them into something that they aren't. Um, the Starfleet Academy teaser, my understanding is it takes place in the Discovery timeline, which is in the 30th century. Now, I didn't finish Discovery. I couldn't get past season 2. I barely got through season 1, and I gave up.
But I thought
after
you
that.
were a Star Trek fan.
I
Quitter.
am. That's why I don't watch Discovery. The people are pretty upset about it. Keep it full screen, would you? And yeah, so we could see some of this garbage. So if you look, a lot of people are upset at. Okay, there's Holly Hunter. Well, she's really sitting like a captain, and she doesn't sit like she's just like a little girl in her dad's easy chair. Very, very diverse cast here. Then nostalgia. Here's more nostalgia, more diversity. It looks like a CW type vibe to it. At least the Klingon looks reasonable. He doesn't look like those weird tar Klingons that they created, those Klingon orcs. So, but then they have there's the doctor from Voyager. Okay, I mean, whatever. He needs a paycheck like everybody else. Yeah, this whole vibe is just very high school drama.
Sorry.
Vibe.
I want to go back to that shot just a second there. Yeah, that shot of a Klingon looking mournful out into the night sky.
Out of night sky. Because that's what Klingons
It's
do.
one thing. Yeah, they never really tap into the feelings of Klingons, and that's something that's always been missing.
Well, they have feelings. It's usually rage and death. That's fine. That's what they are.
Yeah.
They get off on pain sticks and shit like that, So I'm sitting on a park bench, dancing. What is this? What am I looking at here? What is this?
Again, no. To be fair, let's just go on with this, okay? Can you make a funny noise once you're done talking about this? I'm not listening to this. We don't blame you, Maddox. But again, there's not enough dancing in Star Trek. Seriously, how can you argue against that?
I think there's the requisite amount of dancing in Star Trek, which is 0.1%. I think that's fine. Okay, go back to that. The so that that is a Jem'Hadar. Jem'Hadars are not female. They explicitly say female. In Deep Space. She's not just female, she's strong, diverse, body positive female. And which is ridiculous because Jem'Hadar were bred to be warriors. They're in the fittest of fittest shape. They get rid of ones that don't measure up. They're bred in chambers, and there's no females. Okay, I'll give it. I will say they won the Dominion War. They broke up the Dominion. Maybe in the intervening 400, 500, 600 year, whatever it is. Now there's Jem'Hadar females. That's possible. But in my mind, this is just because the writers don't know shit about Star Trek and they threw one in there because you'll know Jem'Hadar. Yeah. Just like they had the name of Kirk and Cisco and they brought back the Doctor.
No.
Things I was
going to say what they've done is gone, well, there aren't any females of those, so I think it's about time we introduced one.
Without understanding what they're all about. Now, are they going to have an explanation? It's possible, but I have no charity to these things anymore. I don't. I see something like that, and a lot of people say, "Well, you don't know. They could have done something in 600 years, a long time. They could have done something." It's like, yeah, and if this was Rick Berman's Star Trek, I would have wondered what was up. I would have been, wanting to know. Now I'm just like completely uncharitable. It's like, no, they did it because they wanted strong, diverse, female, body positive bullshit in there.
Yeah.
Don't sell me bullshit. I know what's going on here.
Yeah.
This whole show is that they just have they wear Star Trek like a skin suit, and it's Skydance can't buy Paramount soon enough. So I have to show the rest of it. I don't want to subject the audience to this nonsense, but Holly Hunter is in there because they need a bankable name that he looks completely uncomfortable and not at all understanding of where she is, or what she's doing. And then we got Paul Giamatti comes in here and he's whistling the theme song to Star Trek. He's whistling the actual song to the show.
Yeah, he's seen the historical documents. He's seen the historical documents. He's there to. Sorry, I shouldn't be laughing because it's something that you love, which is being destroyed slowly.
There's so much that I love that's been destroyed. That was like they think that what's amazing to me, these writers think that they're being clever or something. They really think that we're the dumb ones. And I'm like going, I don't know how you don't fall down more when you walk.
Yeah. Again, it's a property which is beloved by millions of people, and it's worth an absolute fortune. And they are trying to tick the boxes of the 1% people who just don't like it and is never going to watch it, as opposed to ignoring the other 99% who just want to see good Star Trek. That's all we ask for. It's just make it good. Well, that's it. There's no, and
that audience might watch it once. And they won't watch it because they have a love of Star Trek. They'll watch it because this will teach the MAGAs. And I'm like, what are we doing here? Is this why you put this up, to teach to own the cons, to go against the establishment? I mean, like, how does that have any? Do you think in 20 years anybody's going to remember this or care?
Yeah, as opposed to the 1960 series. Which has now had several movies, and that if you say Captain Kirk, everybody on Earth knows who you're talking about. Spock and everybody else, they know there is a legacy that's been left there, and yet this. I think it was a critical drinker the other day who was saying that this generation has got nothing that they can call their own. Endgame came out 15 odd years ago, Lord of the Rings 20 years ago, however long it was. But there's nothing that they can sort of say, this is ours. We've got Star Trek and we've got Star Wars and all this kind of stuff. But the modern generation have got nothing that they can say, this came out in my time and it changed movies forever.
Yeah, I mean, the closest, I think, my daughter, Gen Z, she's got Harry Potter and those movies. Yeah. And the sadistic part of me is like going, so they're coming out with a new series. They're making Hermione black. Welcome to my pain, Marilyn. She's going to be so angry when that show comes out. And I'm like going, now we have a shared experience.
Right, yeah. This is what I've been. This is why I'm angry a lot of the time. This is what it is. Okay, you get it now.
Yeah. I'm going to see her come up and open a beer and sit down with me, just like, like, now you get it. Now you get it.
It's just it's a complete and utter lack of respect for the original property. There were like Gene Roddenberry created a diverse show. That's the stupid thing about this, that he put everybody in there and he dealt with those kind of situations with what's the word, intelligence and authority, and yet this modern generation, it's just about a bunch of crybabies who want to get their own way.
That's exactly it. I'll let me see if I can find it here. I think I know where I wrote it. It will indulge me here for a second.
Okay, I'll talk about the weather.
in the Trek on that I wrote on cultural impact, okay, it was the episode Court Martial. And I said, um, I said, the thing I always hear from the left is that Star Trek was always woke. This is totally incorrect because they simply look at the results and not the causes or intent. When
Yes.
Trek put people of color in various roles, most notably Uhura, but there were many in various roles throughout the series, it was to show that merit was the most important thing, not skin color. It was to portray a future where we didn't care about that anymore. We simply put the best people in the best positions. It was to show that your immutable characteristics are the least important thing about you, and it was correct. Now it's clear the motivations in Hollywood and modern writing is to make immutable characteristics the most important thing about a person. The reason why they
Yeah.
put people of color in is for no other reason than they are people of color. And the result may
Yeah.
be the same. The result's the same in both cases, but the reasoning for it is totally ass backward. They don't understand this. They don't realize how they're denigrating the very people they claim to help. And that's the difference between woke and non-woke. We're working to the same results, but we have vastly different goals. And I don't think the
Yeah.
left will ever really understand that. That's what I put in that. And I think it's endemic in this teaser. When we talk about, oh, there's a lot of DEI, there's a lot of diversity, what we're really talking about is why they put them in and why Roddenberry did it.
A weird one, but I watched Wing Commander the other day. There's a whole connection to that, but I'm not going to go down that route because I'm glad you're not. But I watched Wing Commander again with Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard. In it, I never noticed it before. I quite like Wing Commander when I was a kid, but I haven't seen it for an awfully long time. But in it, and Matthew Lillard has a relationship with a person of color female, and at the time, didn't even occur to me. Never even crossed my mind. Didn't think anything more or less about anything else. Now when I watch it, I'm going, bloody diverse, and like an always like, and it's like going, hang on, no, it's not. This was nothing. It's now a political statement that has got to be made in every kind of thing that we watch, and it's ridiculous.
Well, I tell you, I retroactively start watching some of this stuff. I saw something in Next Gen and a couple other things. And I start thinking, were they always like this, just more subtle about it? Or,
Yeah.
You start wondering. You're actually ruining things in the past because now you're making me question. Because it's not like these people have been in Hollywood for 10 minutes. Some of them have been, but some of these people go back way back, and they're putting this stuff in there. And I start thinking, it's like, were they always this vacuous and stupid? Maybe they weren't.
No, but again, I don't see, like I say, with like Wing Commander, I didn't think anything of it at the time. It was just like, oh, he's with a hot chick. Like I say, there was no kind of diversity or anything else about it. But we've now been conditioned that if I think it was when came out, Dunkirk, and there were people saying that it's not very diverse and everything else. Yeah, because World War II in Dunkirk wasn't very diverse, so they actually kept it quite historically accurate. Yeah, but there should be representation. No, not if you're being historically accurate. You just ultimately you can't.
I believe that would not be representative of the time. Are not clever.
But with it, you can't win with these people. No matter what you do, it's always going to be in the wrong. If you want proof of that, just watch the Sydney Sweeney advert on jeans.
Yeah.
Because like I say, you're just never going to please these people. Let's move on.
Yep. So,
Matt Inks, we're back.
Speaking of ruining things from the 80s, The Naked Gun. Now,
again, it got 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, so it must be good.
Yeah, it means nothing to me anymore. There's another institution that set their credibility on fire.
Maddox said great, and he's back.
He listened. He listened the whole time.
I'm just going to put over here just to remind people that this is what Rotten Tomatoes is like. So Cuties a talented 11-year-old group doing a hip hop dance group, which was, I mean, I couldn't even bring myself to watch it. It sounded awful, but it just, I'm not going to use any particular words, but it was aimed at a certain type of people. The reviewers on there gave it 88%, just to get that out there.
That is a very sanitized description of that movie.
Thank you. But yeah, they gave it 88%. So this is Rotten Tomatoes, the place that I nearly got into an argument with a stupid person on Twitter, my own silly fault, and I said about how Rotten Tomatoes can't be trusted, funny enough, about Naked Gun, and he said, "Well, what's wrong with them?" And I said, "Oh, because they pay for reviews." And he said, "Oh, I've not heard that." And so I found 3 or 4 articles and sent them through to him, and he said, "Well, it still might be good." And it's like, well, yeah, if you think Rotten Tomatoes is real, then you've obviously got a skewed view of the world. And then I stopped arguing with the person because that's a stupid thing to do. Sorry.
Well, I mean, there's people that still believe in what they read, what they still believe in the institutions. They still think CNN is telling the truth. They think Fox News is telling the truth. They think the institutions aren't completely co-opted. That, tech companies aren't just like how many bots and things that you see, nothing's real anymore. It's sad. It's like there's nothing authentic. I think there is a genuine need for authenticity.
We've got we've had adverts on in the UK saying about how Amazon provide great opportunities for their employees and stuff, and you're going, really? I don't think so. Somehow, and so like you say, yeah, you can't believe anything you see or hear now. It used to be bloke down the pub. Now it's I read on Facebook.
Yeah,
I've said, but yeah, now people read on Facebook.
I've been in IT for 35 years, and I'm kind of feel bad about my tiny little contribution to where we are today.
But yeah, the review, everything I've been reading about it on social media is saying how absolutely brilliant it is, and one of the funniest movie in the last of 2025 of this decade, even, which is an incredibly low bar. I mean, obviously, we've got comic movies like Trainwreck with Amy Schumer, which was, I mean, that was pure gold. I mean, again, I want to like it, and I want to enjoy it, but I just don't see it being very good.
Do you know Call Me Chato, the older guy?
Oh yeah.
So he did his review, and he was. I wouldn't say that he gave it the best review. It was not. It wasn't like it was woke or any of that kind of stuff. He just said they don't understand how to do the comedy the way Zucker, Abrams, and Zucker do how to do it. And part of the problem is, and this is why Airplane is so brilliant, it's like of all the absurdity, you play it completely straight. And they don't enough in this. That was the way he said it. He said there were some funny moments, but there was a lot of missed opportunities and things like that. Like the funniest gag I saw in the trailer where he says where
no, I know the one you're going to say, but
yeah, he said take a seat, and she just takes it and leaves. I thought, okay, that was a Zaz level joke, but it sounds like that's few and far between in this movie. So
again, it's just something I love the original Naked Guns, like you say, because Leslie Nielsen just played it so straight, and he was never the clown or anything else. And I mean, I really feel for Liam Neeson. I put up the other day, which actor do you kind of feel sorry for? Because I mean, he had he was in Oscar-winning movies, with Steven Spielberg and Schindler's List and so forth, and then he came back with Taken, and Taken kind of blew him out of the water. But again, since then, I think I watched Ice Road Vengeance the other day, which was a sequel to Ice Road. Now, I mean, Ice Road was dull as dishwater. Why it needed a sequel, I have no idea. But again, he's been churning out these action movies of just kind of, grumpy old Irish guy. And I just don't see him as it's being unfair to say no. I don't see him as a comic actor. Leslie Nielsen wasn't a comic actor before he became. He was an Aeroplane. He was a fine actor who was in Forbidden Planet and a few westerns, and the guy was a good actor. But just Liam Neeson, he just doesn't. It doesn't. To me, in the trailer, it doesn't work at all. At all.
Yeah, I like that whole thing where he was a little girl and then he was, he grew, and I was like. Yeah, I get the gag. It just wasn't funny to me. So I don't know. I'm not.
I think I was going to say I posted a photo, not that one. I posted a photo. Oh no, it was in the Great Debate. Where we go? Why we went wrong? And the photo that got me was that one. Because again, Leslie Nielsen was never kind of in that situation. Leslie Nielsen was always just the straight guy. He used to have like his fart machine that he used to take on and interviews and stuff. But again, he would always play it straight. Whereas that's just embarrassing.
Yeah, I mean, yet the joke doesn't work. It feels like I don't know what they're doing. So whatever. I think it's just copy of a copy, right? It's just warmed over stuff that was done better.
As middle-aged white men, they are just trying to destroy everything that we've known and loved.
Yep.
Okie doke.
And okay. 20 years, what are people going to be watching? They're going to be watching the originals. They're not going to be watching your shit. So you win, I guess.
In 20 years' time, it's going to be, we've just discovered the original Naked Gun movie with a man called Leslie Nelson. They're going to be re-releasing that like it's something new.
Yeah. Oh, well,
if you thought the original was funny, this is the original of the original, which is even funnier.
Well, have you noticed how many theaters are re-releasing classics? Like it used to be like a special thing. It didn't happen very often. Now it's happening all the time, and people are going and watching these. And I'm like going, I don't know what that says, but it says something.
No, weirdly you say that because my local cinema. What were they bringing back? They were bringing back something, and I actually thought, I fancy it. For example, special screenings: Rocky Horror Picture Show, Jaws, the original Harry Potter, Goonies, the X-Men for some strange reason. I don't know if they're like completely classic, but again, like Goonies in the cinema, I don't remember seeing that in the cinema. I'd love to go and see that in the cinema, and you can bet your bottom dollar it will be absolutely packed out with people. I think when you said you went to see the 50th anniversary of Jaws, your screen was packed out.
Yeah, it was. I'm just taking a look at my local cinema and seeing what they have in here. See if there's one that's a throwback or not. Just randomly, just checking and seeing.
I really want to go and see Goonies now. I'm gonna have to make sure I find out when that's out so I can go.
There you go. Sunset Boulevard. Sunset Boulevard, 75th anniversary, August 3rd. Just at a random check to see. And that
weirdly, they're doing Jaws. They're doing Jaws weirdly in 3D. No. Yeah, I don't know. I think I need to see it in 3D. Jaws 3D, I see in 3D because that was brilliant.
The original Jaws 3D, yes.
Oh, yeah, happy days. But yeah, like I say, and again, what made me laugh was when they released the Revenge of the Sith, and they said that the money had gone through the roof for it, and people were packed out. And it's like, yeah, people want to see Star Wars, but just not the Star Wars that Disney's offering at the moment. I think it was the Critical Drinker who said that the last sort of episode of Acolyte or even Andor and stuff like that was only getting sort of 1 or 2 million views, and that's how many he gets on his videos. It's hardly breaking the bank anymore.
And what's sad to me, people would rather watch the shit prequels, which I still think are boring shit, than watch anything new. That's how bad we're at.
They're terrible movies, but I'm still entertained by them. I can't help but deny that. I still find them entertaining. I can still quite happily watch them, even though, like I say, the stories are. Somebody said, I can't think which film it was, but a recent film that came out, and they were saying about how they had done rewrites in it it was something new. It was on social media. And I was like, yeah, but this is the problem. That's exactly what Rick McCallum said about Attack of the Clones. You know, the script was always in flux. Yeah, and it was awful. It's not a good sign.
I guess at least they were made in earnest. So that's all.
Yeah. At least they were made with a bit of love. I mean, I know it's George, but a bit of love. Right, yes, Fantastic Four. You've seen it, haven't you?
I did.
Don't spoil it, but do they win at the end?
No.
Don't spoil it. No.
No, everybody dies. It was a bold choice. Yeah, I mean, I can honestly say it's the best Fantastic Four movie to date.
Again, not a high bar, but
not a high bar. I grant you that. I think it was done a little bit more accurately to the comics. Now, I'm not a huge Fantastic Four reader. I've read a few, but it was never, they have this weird reverence to them because they were the first Marvel comic that created the Marvel universe. But they were far surpassed by X-Men, Spider-Man, even now the Avengers and that sort of thing. I mean, there's so many others that were far more popular than they were. So I give them that. Yeah, they were the first and they've hung around and they do have a loyal readership and they are compelling enough to keep them going, but they were never at the top of my list. And so watching this, I think they distilled it down pretty well. The 60s aesthetic was great. The Thing was enjoyable. Like he wasn't like, oh, I'm a monster. What do you know? My life is written. Now he's like, yeah, I'm the Thing. I'm gonna punch things. And it had like everybody acted like you expected. And my review, I kind of took a different tact on it because I didn't really have anything different to say than what most everybody said, which was it's pretty good. Maybe there's some stuff left on the cutting room floor that might have made it a little bit better. You liked what you saw. You weren't bowled over. And I got to think about it's like, if this had come out, if this had been the 2005 movie, how would it be held? In what regard would it be held in now? And I think about like everybody loved Batman back in 89, right? And I'm not saying it's crap or that I don't like it, but after the Dark Knight trilogy, I would say I could see a lot more of the flaws in that Batman, right?
Yeah.
If that Batman had come out after the Dark Knight trilogy, would it have been such a big hit, right?
Yeah.
And I kind of wonder, like, when you have this glut of superhero movies, and I think the same thing happened with Westerns. I think there's people that have discovered Westerns in the late 60s, early 70s later that didn't really hit at the time because there were so many damn Westerns. So I don't know if it's hard for me now to separate whether or not this is really good or it was just enjoyable or, it obviously didn't bowl me over, but I would watch it again.
I mean, I've no reference to the books or comics or anything else. Never read them, but I know obviously the two movies. And there was the first movie which then had a sequel, but then the next one with Miles Teller and was it Rooney Mara? Was awful.
Fan Forstick.
Yeah, was awful, and so kind of anything compared to that, would make it a better film. And I guess this is like we've just been saying when they're digging up stuff from the 80s and everything else. You're going to compare Naked Gun with the original Naked Gun. Now, to me and you, who grew up on the original Naked Gun, nothing's going to beat it because it's great. Same with Inspector Clouseau. You're not going to get better than Peter Sellers because the man was a comic genius, and yet here we are. And if this Eddie Murphy Inspector Clouseau came out, it might just be very well funny, but you've got to compare it to the original, and that's what you're saying with this Fantastic Four.
Well, yeah, but to be fair, we hadn't had a good Fantastic Four movie.
No.
I mean, like take Ocean's 11. The original one with Sinatra and all that. It's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Right. And so I think it's Steven Summers. I forget the director's name, but
Steve
he
Soderbergh.
comes in Soderbergh. Thank you. He comes in and he does the George Clooney Brad Pitt version. It's amazing, right? So I think there is room to take something that wasn't good and make a much better version of it. And I think that is what
Yeah.
happened here. The problem is that it's having to. I don't know if it's my superhero fatigue or if it's my assumption that because Hollywood has dug itself into such a horrible hole that it's
Yeah.
set fire to all goodwill for superhero movies in the last 5 years,
Yeah.
especially Disney and the MCU. So now you're kind of like going, I mean, maybe I'm going into it with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. I'll admit that. I don't want to, but I don't mean
No,
to, but I think there is that
this is where
in the
we
back of
are.
your head. Right. It's where we
Yeah.
are.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's a shame because I think this movie is reasonably good. Um, I wouldn't put it at a 5-star. It wasn't like Dark Knight or something like that, but it was a very solid movie. And yet I'm going, like if I'd seen this 20 years ago, I would have been ecstatic. I really would have been. I would have said, this is what a great way to bring back the Fantastic Four. Galactus looked terrifying. It was great. I'm sure we would have picked it apart as time gone on here and there for
Yeah.
different things, but I think everybody would have had general goodwill to it. But now it's hampered by all this crap that's happened in the last 20 years, especially the last
Yeah.
5. And you go, I'm trying not to be unfair to the movie, but I feel what I feel, right? It's like I don't. I think it's just going to be one of those things. If I revisit it over time, maybe if they come out with the director's cut and it's even a little bit better, I may be more positive as time goes on, or I may be more negative. But my initial reaction, I feel like should have been more positive than it was, and I have nothing specific to say that was the movie's fault, and I'm not more positive.
I always try to go in with an open mind, but like you say, you can't help but form an opinion of something before you go in. Weapons was a classic example. I said to you before the show that I was hoping to go and see Weapons on Friday, but I got the dates wrong and it's now next Friday. But I've tried to stay away from everything from it. And this, weirdly enough, a good example of that is that Life of Chuck by Mike Flanagan. The only thing I knew was Mike Flanagan, and it was a Stephen King story. And I just thought, right, fine. Didn't know anything about it. Went into it completely fresh and really enjoyed it. Really thoroughly enjoyed it. It was a really great film. With this kind of thing, it's like with Superman. I was bored of Superman before. I've still not seen it because I'm going to wait till streaming, but I was bored of Superman before it even hit the cinemas because they overpopulated it, and then everybody was saying how unbelievably fantastic it is. It's better than Man of Steel and it's better than Christopher Reeve. And immediately my heckles were up, and I was just like, no, I'm just not bothered now. And I think advertising kind of does two things. Obviously, yes, he's got to get bums in seats. I get that. I totally understand that. But at the same time, if they oversell stuff, it just, I don't want to say puts you off, but it doesn't help. It oversells the product before you've even got the product.
No, I agree. Superman, going back, I still say the first Christopher Reeve movie still holds up. It's still amazing. Unlike the Batman movie. And it has its charm of being a product of its time, I think, to a certain extent. And then, Christopher Reeve is just so superlative, no pun intended, as Superman and Clark Kent. So it all works. The music, John Williams music and all that. So
no, I'm not a fan of the music, but sorry.
You lie.
Again, I think it's somebody said that. I think it was you actually on one of the reviews or something. Or when John Williams did the music for Superman, all of a sudden it was like, this is now the perfect. This is it. This is it. This is now the perfect set of music for a movie. You will never have a score which is better for Superman than what John Williams did ever.
Yeah. What I said was that they had 40 years or so of TV and radio shows and cartoons and serials and everything that had a somewhat different take on the Superman theme. or you know,
Yeah.
what their
Yeah.
music was. And then John Williams came along and everybody went, "Oh, we've been wrong for 40 years. That's Superman." And
Yeah.
ever since, nobody's been able to come up with a theme. I mean, like you almost have to work it in there now. It's like the James Bond theme. What else are you gonna
Yeah.
use? You got to use the James Bond theme, right? So I don't care who's playing or what the tone of the movie is. So yeah, I think that music is just superlative. It'll never be topped. And then, but the movie itself, yeah, that Superman movie was just like I said, I called it an earnest mess or a sincere mess, but it's still a mess. Fantastic Four, I think, was better. I mean, as far as it was a tighter story, it was more focused. I understood what was going on. I think there were some things they could have even added in there that might have fleshed it out a little bit more, but um, overall, it did well, and it was just a better told story than the Superman one was. So yeah, I wish I could. Yet I come across like I was. It was like, I wasn't really that excited about it, and that's a shame because I don't think the movie did anything wrong. Not you know
No,
insanely so or
just
anything.
if it come out at another time, it would have been absolutely fantastic.
It would have been.
People
It
would
would
have
have been a
loved
$400 million movie.
Yeah, but just like you say, I think superhero fatigue for me is something which is setting in because again, I'm getting to that point now where I'm just not bothered. They need to leave the genre alone and just reinvent another genre for a little while, even westerns or something. Erotic thrillers with Sydney Sweeney. Yes, that's what they need to reinvent.
That never goes out of style. Yeah,
oh yeah, that
I
never
mean,
goes on.
I don't know if it's the superhero fatigue because I mean, even after Endgame, I was ready for more. You know, I was
Yeah,
ready for more. I really think it's the last 5 years of just horrendous, insulting garbage that
and
really
it's
killed
weird.
it.
It's weird because you say Endgame. I mean, I think I've watched Iron Man to Endgame. I think probably about 3 times and gone
Yeah.
through all of them quite happily. I mean, okay, fine, they might be on at work and just in the background or whatever. But I'm still quite happy to go through them all again. And Infinity and End Wars, I've seen a dozen times, I think. And again, they're still solid movies. They're not perfect, but they are solid movies, and they're just a treat to watch. Whereas anything after that, I'm just trying to even think of the titles. You had like Black Widow, Eternals. That's all I can think of. That came out afterwards, and I've seen them both once, and then that's kind of it.
Well, I mean, look, the first 4 Superman movies, right, got worse and worse. And
Yeah.
by the time you get to Superman Quest for Peace, that was absolute garbage, right? Then you get the first 4 Batman movies. The first 2 are very good. The Val Kilmer one is bad, and the George Clooney one is worse.
Yeah.
So that's almost 20 years of, and granted, not as many, but about 20 years of superhero movies that really drove them into the ground. And yet, I was not tired of superhero movies. Now, you could say, well, there wasn't nearly as many as there are now. I agree, but I still wasn't like just turned off by the whole idea after watching these horrendous pieces of shit. And yet, the stuff that came out in the last 5 years, I mean, it could have been horrendous, but this was beyond that. These were not just horrendous. They were insulting. They were truly off-putting and looking at me because of how I look and how I was born and what age I am, that they wanted to tell me I was a bad person. That's really what most of these things are. And that is, in my mind, that's what killed it for me. It wasn't that they made bad movies I could deal with. Been through
but when they're
a million
insulting you,
times. But this is a whole new level that I don't think we've ever seen before. That a group of people are making content that hate their prime audience, that absolutely hate them, and it shows.
Yeah.
That's what's killed my enthusiasm, I think, more than anything.
Even the cigarette companies know they're killing their customers, but they keep them hooked.
Yeah. At least try to say, yeah, smoke this, and you'll get all kinds of women. It's like, yeah, nurses in hospice, but sure, yeah. But
I love candy stripers.
yeah, but you get my point.
Sorry,
It's like,
I was going to say, just to go through, I had to quickly look this up because I couldn't remember. But I mean, after Endgame, you had Spider-Man: Far From Home, which did work. Fair play. Like I say, that one did
was
work.
all right.
No, not Far From. Sorry, Far From Home was right. No Way Home was quite good with the whole multiverse thing. That kind of actually, stuck it a bit. You had Black Widow, which was again just girl bossy
Horrendous.
rubbish. Shang-Chi, which I can barely remember. The Eternals. Then No Way Home was 2001. Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which again was just girl bossy rubbish. Let's just replace Doctor Strange with a young teenage girl.
Yeah.
Thor: Love and Thunder, which was just, oh dear. Thor is a perfectly good trilogy, and then they go and make a fourth one and ruin it. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever, which I can barely remember.
I remember one thing. I remember the Black Panther one. So they made Namor Hispanic, and the way that he had to get his powers back is they had to throw water on his back. They had to make his back wet. I'm going, are you kidding me?
That's as bad as what's his name? Ironheart, isn't it? Because with an Ironheart, she gets the Iron Man suit and then steals it.
Yeah.
You had Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which again replaced Ant-Man with his young teenage daughter who was better than him. And it had what's his name as well in the what was he called? Is it Maddox?
MODOK.
The giant MODOK, yeah. Oh, dear. Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which is again a movie I've never returned to. I like the first two, but I've never returned to the third one. Oh, yeah. But then I stand corrected. Then we had the Marvels with Brie Larson, which was just outstanding. Deadpool, Wolverine, which again I think I've seen once, but I've not been bothered to return to. Captain America: Brave New World, which is just awful. Thunderbolts, and now Fantastic Four.
So Thunderbolts was, I hate to say it, of all that list, except for maybe one or two, was better than anything else they put out. Wasn't awesome, wasn't amazing, just better. And then Fantastic Four was genuinely good. But
fair enough.
Everything you listed of these insulting movies that they kept putting out, really,
you've got to remember you've seen them. Eternals. Is that the one with the superpowered deaf person in it? This godlike creature that they made whose ears don't work. You did fix the ears on that one, didn't you? Yeah.
Which one are you talking about?
In the Eternals, there was a deaf character.
Oh, yeah.
These Eternals, these superpowered godlike creatures, and one of them was deaf. And you're thinking, that's what you want with Superman. Oh, Superman's great, but he needs to lose a leg.
Well, the weird thing about that
is
they were created by the Celestials or something. There were like thousands of these Eternals apparently out there, according to this mythos. So they built them. It's like you built them, one of them deaf.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I mean when they're making them. You did pick the ears on that one, didn't you? Yes. Yeah, she's fine. Just don't ask her any questions. But again, it's just all these films, like I say, it's just it just keeps going back to the whole disrespect of the IPs, and nowadays it is just content. That's why I'm just going to mention this. Sorry, isn't it? That's why we do like our indie films. Now I've been the champion on those, and I've been posting trailers and stuff, and some of them are kind of hit and miss. But let's just bring it up here on there. Some of the indie stuff that I've been seeing has been fantastic, absolutely brilliant. The fact that they're just made with more heart and more passion than any of the Hollywood stuff that's churned out these days. Like I say, they are a little bit hit and miss. But give me an indie movie over anything else, and I'm way happier with anything cinema wise at the moment.
So mostly I haven't watched a lot of indie films because mostly they're a genre of either mopey drama bullshit or some horror or things like that. There's very little that are just, hey, that's a fun film. And now I
Super
noticed that you've
Charlie
been putting,
was.
well, that's what I'm saying. I say I noticed that lately they've been putting out more kids stuff. They've been putting out these
Yeah,
CGI cartoons. There seems to be a little bit of a change in that. I did see one
and that one.
that Angel Studios, I think, is putting out. It's with Michael Chiklis, and he's it's called The Senior, and he's like, I don't know, he's in his 60s, and he's going back to college to play football, and it looks fun. I mean, it's not a comedy. It's done as, one of those rousing sports movies, kind of like Rudy.
Yeah,
But,
yeah,
I mean, I was like, okay, it looks like an uplifting kind of movie, And the thing I don't like about like A24, they put out some great stuff, but they're also miserable. And most of them are
yeah,
miserable. So
yeah.
I,
I'm fine, I'm fine with
I just
A20.
get tired of
A24 is
seeing
getting a
it.
little bit. I was going to say I get a little bit tired with A24 because they're getting a bit formulaic now with their stuff, putting a groovy
Yeah.
soundtrack, give it a weird ending, and it's getting a little bit like that. But with the indie movies, at least I don't know what to expect. When I go and see Fantastic Four, I know exactly kind of what I'm going to go and see. I said it the other day. I think I was talking to someone and said it's the difference between like having a McDonald's but then having a family-run restaurant. You know what you're going to get with McDonald's. It's going to be, your burger is going to be exactly the same as you had it last time. So are the size. Whereas there's a couple of cafes near me, and they're little independent places and stuff. And sometimes the eggs are runny, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes bacon's a little bit overdone and whatnot. But give me that kind of place where it's just made with a bit of love and made with a bit of heart, and not just made to, just sell burgers. Indie movies is where it's at.
Yeah, I like
So
that. I would just say, to take your analogy, it seems like most indie movies were just, vegan horror. And I'm like going, I don't want to eat vegetables. Can give me a burger that looks different, or give me a steak or something like that. But that's fine. But does it have to
give me one
be
of those
all
burgers
this?
with a little stick in it that holds it all
Yeah.
up.
Yeah. But does it have to be all this weird eggplant nonsense? I don't, why? That's how I felt about
That's
it
fair enough. That's
for a long
good.
time. But I think it's changing. I do think that's changing. I'm going to give more of them a shot.
Yeah. There's been some good stuff. Right, we've gone way over time. Way over time. Goodness. Oh,
15
sorry.
minutes? Oh my God.
Yes.
You gonna be
I've got my
okay? Is your
tea.
wife gonna beat you?
Listen, what we get up to on our over. Oh, I see what you mean. No, it'll be fine.
All right. Well,
Right, so,
why don't
okay.
you take us out this time?
Okay. Yes, thank you for joining us here at the Last Movie Outpost, where you can go for all of your movie news, reviews, and everything cool about film. We put up articles every day because we've got no lives and nothing else to do. But we try to keep you updated with everything, not just Hollywood, but like I say, with indie movies as well, reviews, and we have some interesting discussions as well. Confess Your Secret Love Movie was the one the other day, which was quite interesting. Go and have a read of the comments and stuff there. You can find us all on Twitter and everything else down there and whatnot. Like and subscribe and whatever it is. Any last words from you then?
Well, for those of you who made it to the end, I will have my little announcement. Trek On resumes tomorrow. So those of you who like those articles, and I've had a few in the comments saying, when are you going to start up again? Trek On resumes tomorrow. So we'll see.
An epic review of all the episodes of Star Trek, and you're now onto the animated series, aren't you?
I'm on the 1973 animated series, yes.
What a trooper. It's when he gets to review things like the Academy, we can have a laugh. crap.
Yeah, that's not on the docket. But sadly, I'm looking at the animated series. I'm liking this more than anything I saw on Discovery. Warts and all.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it was because it was made with a bit of love. That's why. But yes, like I say, go to the last movie I post, tell it with your friends, do everything you can to spread the word. Otherwise, we will come around your house and do a Jay and Silent Bob on you.
Fair enough.
Other than that, thank you very much, and we will see everybody next week.
Take care.